Thank you. How should medical professionals treat children and young people with gender dysphoria? Tomorrow, we're expecting the final report from Dr. Hilary Cass that will make its recommendations. Her interim review, out in 2022, led to the closure of the Gender Identity Development Service at the Tavistock NHS Trust in London. Dr. Cass's review then called for a fundamentally different approach to treating children after a significant rise in referrals to the clinic and the raising of serious concerns about the care they offered. Let's talk now to Hannah Barnes, who is Associate Editor at the New Statesman magazine. It was her work here on Newsnight into care for young people in this area that lifted the lid on problems with the service. Hannah, what are we expecting tomorrow then?
Well, that report is under embargo, but the nature of these things is that it's on several front pages already. So several of the papers, the Mail, the Guardian, calling it a landmark report. They're very much concentrating on the evidence base. Oh, they're up here. Here we go. Evidence severely lacking for overuse for puberty blockers. NHS review rejects use of puberty blockers, which we knew already, to be fair. And quite rightly, the Guardian saying thousands of children let down by the NHS. And what we're going to get tomorrow, what we expect is, firstly, on that evidence base, Dr. Cass is going to say, how do we strengthen that? Because it is unbelievably weak behind these medical treatments that have been used for a decade and a half or so in children. And we need to collect proper data because it has been woefully inadequate up to this point. We know next to nothing about 9,000 or 10,000 children that have gone through the Gender Identity Development Service, GIDS, at the Tavistock. Both those who've started medication and those who haven't. We don't know anything. And we're also expecting to hear detail on what good care looks like. And that's going to be demedicalising it and treating children as a whole, which sounds a bit silly. But one of the problems that we've had in the past is that once a young person has gender-related distress, which they all did, no one's questioning that. The other difficulties that they often had alongside that, whether that's depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and many of these young people had those things, they were ignored. And so these new services, good care, is going to look at those children in the whole, in the realm.
OK. What do you think about the fact that it's taken this length of time to get to this point?
It's pretty atrocious. I think it's quite shameful. We've known for many, many years that there's a pretty big problem here. You know, we can go back to 2015 when certainly GIDS itself had some early data about the first children, the younger children, to go on puberty blockers, which indicated that some of them weren't benefiting from that at all. A year later, 2016, that was confirmed. And the head of GIDS, Dr. Polly Carmichael, presented those findings to other professionals working in this area and to her own staff, seemingly not to the public. 2018, 10 members of staff from one small service. This is extraordinary, 10. You know, most NHS services, we don't get one whistleblower. Here we have 10, raise those concerns to an adult member of staff, working in the adult service. That went to NHS England. That is 6 years ago. 2019, when we started reporting it on this programme, we made a series of films, myself and Deborah Cohen, and you know, we're going to play a bit now that we obtained some transcripts of an official review into GIDS, and in those, several clinicians raised some very, very, very serious concerns about the care that the service was offering. Here's just a bit of a taster.
Maybe we are medicating gay kids, maybe we're medicating kids with autism, maybe we are medicating traumatised children. And if we are, we're doing bad things to these vulnerable kids.
So that was an actor speaking up, but you know, we're going back years, and I don't think there's anything to celebrate here, to be honest. There's certainly, yes, this programme and some other notable exceptions in the media have spoken up, the Times, the Sunday Times, but really, where has everybody been? Where has NHS England been all these years? Where's the oversight been? Why allow an unevidenced or poorly evidence-based powerful drug to be rolled out without demanding robust data to support that? Where have the politicians been? Where's the regulator been? It took our report on Newsnight for the CQC, the Care Quality Commission, to go back to GIDS and inspect them, and that inspection rated them inadequate. And as I say, where have large swathes of the media been? And sadly, I include the BBC and that outside of this programme.
And in terms of that headline that you picked out on The Guardian, thousands of kids have been let down. You say that is right, do you? Kids have been let down?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They've been utterly failed by a system that should have been caring for them. And that is the tragedy here. We have now 5,000 to 6,000 children under 17 waiting on a waiting list for help. Some of them have been waiting for years already without anything. Now, they are distressed, they are contending with loads of difficulties, and they've had nothing. And some of them will be distraught that what they thought was the thing that would take away their pain, puberty blockers, are now not going to be available. And we've let them down. We've allowed them to think that when there was never rationale to prove that.
Hannah Barnes, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Associate Editor of The New Statesman, thank you for coming in.